to your new Microsoft Teams phone system and phones. This guide will help you get started with those new phones and phone system, from setting it up to basic use to the concept of how calls get routed and answered. Microsoft Teams uses a different format for routing the calls than what you may be familiar with. If this is an internal call where you're calling a teammate within your organization, you're not calling an extension as much as you are calling a user, so you will search for them and call them by their username. If it's somebody that you call frequently, you'll want to set them up as a favorites to make that process even faster. However, if it is somebody calling from outside of your organization, they're generally going to call an auto attendant and let that route to you, or since every user will have their own direct ID number, that number can call you directly, straight to your presence in Microsoft Teams. When someone calls you within the Microsoft Teams phone system, they're calling your user account or your ID within Microsoft 365. When that happens, it will ring you on every device that has Microsoft Teams signed in with your account. That can be your desktop phone system, that can be your cell phone if you have the Microsoft Teams app on it, and that can be your desktop if you have Microsoft Teams installed on it. When that call is made, it will call each of those devices simultaneously, and you can pick up on whichever one is most convenient or opportunity to answer. It will ring on all of the devices, though, at the same time if they are logged in. But here is an important note. When that person calls you to your direct ID, it will ring those devices whether you are at work or not. So if you have the Teams app on your cell phone and somebody calls in the evening, it will ring that Teams app on your cell phone. The only way to work around that is to set an out of office rule on your cell phone, which will sync to all of your other devices that you're out of office, or a forwarding rule to where you say forward it straight to voicemail when you leave, and then when you come in the morning, reset it back to be able to call. Other than that, it will call all those devices at any time. If they call the auto attendant, we can schedule that for work hours and after hours and send it to a voicemail. But if they're calling straight to your DID, your direct ID number, from external or internal, it will ring you on all of those devices if there's not a forward or out of office rule set up. When you first get your phone, it will be at a sign-in state. This is the basic turn it on state that it opens up to. When you are here, you will click sign in. That'll then sync up to your company portal and ask you to sign in with your 365 username and password. After you've signed in, it will register your device within 365 and sign you in to the device, the same as you sign into your computer or the app on your cell phone. You then have a splash screen where you accept the got it. And now you're ready to make and place calls and receive calls. That's all there is to it. Your new phone. When you get this phone out of the box, you will notice that the display has your phone number and a dial pad and elements on the display, as well as on the actual device itself. You also have some buttons. You have the pause button, you have forward, you have redial, the last number that you called. You have a button that allows you to edit the volume of the ring, your normal number pad. This button will send it to the headphone that is attached. This is the mute button. This one will allow you to make a speakerphone call. And the Teams button will send it back to the main menu. You can manage many of the settings for your phone and your calling through the phone itself. By pressing the line in the top left and pressing the settings button, you have the ability to switch to the dark theme, to edit your profile, set up your calling features, and go down to your device settings. Inside calling, you will see that you have call forwarding that you can turn on. You can have it to also ring another. Set up the rule that if it's unanswered, you can set where it goes. You can change your voicemail from this location. You can also edit your ringtone types. Right now they're all set to default, but if I press that, I can change the way it sounds on a forwarded call or a delegated call. I can also set it to block calls with no caller ID from this location. Within Teams calls, you have the ability to manage your voicemail. To manage your voicemail, in the top menu, next to your profile, click the three-dot icon and select Settings. From there, in the left menu, go down to Calls, and it'll open up another window. And in the middle is Voicemail. From here, you have the ability to record a greeting for your voicemail, or you also have the option to use text-to-speech to customize a greeting, where you can type in your greeting and the computerized voice will read it to the caller. You can also set a custom out-of-office greeting. The custom out-of-office greeting will play when you select the options, whether you want it to be playing all the time, when you have an Outlook auto reply, or when you have an out-of-office calendar event. And you can select that and it'll play the custom greeting rather than the regular greeting. You also have call answering rules. You can let the caller record a message, the general voicemail rule, or with the drop-down, you can have them record a message and be transferred, just end the call without playing the greeting, play your greeting and then end it, or have your call transferred to somebody else. When you get your settings set the way you would like it, select OK. To check your voicemails inside the Teams app, at the top, you have a voicemail button. When you click that voicemail button, you will see the history of your voicemails that you can listen to or read because it will transcribe it for you. You will also receive an email to your Outlook email with a text email of your voicemail. Those are many of the ways you can access your voicemail for management. There are times when you're not available, but a call to you still needs to reach somebody so that can be communicated. To do so, you can set your phone number to be forwarded. On the main screen of the calls section at the bottom, the default is set for don't forward. But by clicking the drop down, I can have it forward to my voicemail, or I can select more settings. And inside the settings, I can go into the rules of what I want to happen. I can forward my calls to voicemail, to a new number of contact, or to a call group, so I can guarantee that that number has the best opportunity to get answered. You can manage your contacts and speed dial or favorites from the Calls app. From the Calls app in the top menu, you have a Contacts tab. When you click on that, it'll open up the contacts that you have within your organization. Clicking here will allow you to add contacts, so you can type in the name or the number to add them. Also, from your main screen on the right, you have the speed dial option. These are your favorites. By clicking the ... you can add a contact into this speed dial group and add them as favorite. What's nice is when you add these contacts and favorites or speed dials on the app, it also transfers across your entire profile with your team's calls, whether it's on a desktop handset or a cell phone app. Those will also show up in those locations, so you have them permanent and persistent for your availability. When you're on a call, you actually have options that are available to you while you're on the call with your computer. You can mute the microphone. You can dial in more people if you need to add people into the conversation. And with the More button, you have the ability to put the call on hold, and it shows you how long it's on hold. And then you have a resume button at the top to pick that up off of hold. You also have the ability to transfer. So I can transfer that call blindly, or I can consult by calling the person first, talking to them, and then transferring them. I also have the ability to turn on live captions. If it's difficult to understand them, by turning on live captions, I can read what they're trying to say sometimes. So those are a lot of the options that you have when you're on the call by selecting the More button. When you're finished, just select Leave. Thank you for taking the time to learn about your new phone and phone system. There's a reason Teams Phone is in the Magic Quadrant of the Gartner Unified Communications Report. It aligns with the tools you are already using. It's simple and consistent calling experience, and it's customizable and controllable by the user for greater productivity. Enjoy your new phone experience.